Next example, friends, is about ESG and sustainability problem. It's unethical labor practices in the supply chain. Actually, these practices examples are like child labor, forced labor, unsafe working conditions, and low wages are prevalent in global supply chain. Some global supply chains, we can say, especially in the industries like textile, agriculture, electronics. So workers particularly may face exploitation and abuse, working long hours for little pay and dangerous environments or unhealthy environments or unsafe environments. The absence of labor rights protection, weak regulations, and pursuit of cost-cutting measures by the businesses and corporations often lead to mistreatment of workers. Okay. Now, what can be the challenges in dealing with this situation or problem? One of the challenges is the complexity of the global supply chain, where companies may have limited visibility into the conditions of workers in distant factories or farms. Additionally, many companies or businesses focus on cost reduction, leading to outsourcing to regions where labor standards are less stringent. Even when labor law exists, enforcement is often weak or inconsistent. Then efforts to address labor rights abuses are happened by the lack of accountability, instability in the governance structure, and corruption in some organizations or areas. Then what can be the solutions? Examples for, we have seen challenges example and the problem. Now we see the solutions. In the solutions, we can say companies can conduct supply chain audits, okay, and work with certified labor rights organizations to ensure fair labor practices in all tiers of the supply chain. Also, establishing the transparency through traceability system, that is tracking the origin of materials and labor conditions, helps exposing the unethical practices. Governments also can strengthen labor laws, promoting fair trade certifications, okay, and enforce stricter penalties for violations. Also, collaborative industry initiatives such as fair labor associations can help companies ensure that they adhere to the ethical labor standards. So we have seen the problem of unethical labor practices in supply chain, the associated challenges, okay, and the solutions. Thank you, friends. Let us see another example now. Okay, let us see another example of the ESG and sustainability related problem, that is air pollution, which is primarily caused by industrial emissions, vehicle exhaust, and deforestation, and it's a significant environmental issue that affects the health of millions of people worldwide. And also pollutants such as particulate matter, nitrogen oxide, sulfur oxide, carbon monoxide can cause respiratory and cardiovascular diseases, which is aggravating the existing health conditions and contribute to premature deaths. In addition to human health, air pollution can affect the ecosystem and damaging crops, forests, and bodies of water. So water bodies also can be affected. Okay. Then what are the challenges associated with this problem treatment? The challenges in tackling air pollution lies in the sources of pollution, particularly in rapidly industrializing regions where emissions are, let's say, unregulated. Let's say still the companies or organizations are relying heavily on coal and fossil fuels for energy production, leading to high emission levels. While technological advancements in cleaner energy in transportation exist, they are often expensive and difficult to implement on a large scale. Okay. Additionally, air quality monitoring and enforcement of uh, environmental standards are insufficient in many areas, especially like urban regions with high traffic congestions. Now, what can be the possible solutions, okay, for this problem? To reduce air pollution, governments can invest in like energy clean energy sources like wind, solar, hydropower, and implement emission regulations for industries. Also, promotion of electric vehicles and public transportation system can significantly reduce emissions from transportation. Also, businesses can adopt energy efficient technologies that and can commit to sustainable production practices. Also, we can think of urban planning should prioritize green spaces and encourage walking, cycling as alternative modes of transportation. Public awareness campaigns can also play a critical role in encouraging individuals to adopt, we can say, cleaner lifestyles. Lifestyles. Okay. So we have seen the problem of air pollution, the challenges associated, and the solution. Thank you, friends. Let us see another example now. Another example of ESG related or sustainability related problem is cybersecurity risks. Like you see, the businesses and individuals become more reliant on digital platforms, the risk of cyber attacks growing. So, cybersecurity threats, including hacking, data breaches, and identifying theft and ransomware, poses a significant risk to both private and public sector organizations. And data breaches can expose sensitive information, leading to financial losses, reputational damage, and erosion of the trust. And the increasing sophistication of cyber criminals and the rapid pace of technological change make it difficult for organizations to stay ahead of the potential threats. So, what can be the possible challenges in treating this or tackling this situation? The challenge in managing cybersecurity risk is the complexity and diversity and diversity of digital systems used by organizations, many of which are interconnected with other systems globally. Small businesses often lack the resources or expertise to implement effective cybersecurity measures, leaving them vulnerable to the attacks. Vulnerable to attacks. Additionally, we can say there is a shortage of skilled cybersecurity professionals, and many organizations face challenges in keeping up with constantly evolving threats of cyber securities. Okay, then we can say there is a shortage, as we know, like skilled cybersecurity that we have discussed, and then we can say regulatory frameworks of data protection in cybersecurity are still, let's say, under development in some areas, which complicating the compliance efforts actually. So what can be the possible solutions for this problem? We can say organizations, they can implement strong cybersecurity measures such as encryption, multi-factor authentication, and securing the network protocols to safeguard data and protecting the systems. Also, we can say regular cybersecurity training programs for employees is essential to mitigate human error and raise awareness about the potential threats. Also, governments can introduce and enforce cybersecurity regulations to ensure companies adopt best practices for data protection. So, collaboration between industry leaders, government, cybersecurity experts can lead to the creation of more effective security standards, and also the response systems to combat the cyber threats actually, to combat cyber threats. So we have seen the example of cybersecurity related ESG risks and the challenges associated and the solution. Thank you, friends. Let us see another example now. Another example is related to ESG sustainability problem is about access to education. despite progress in global education, millions of children, especially in low income areas, still lack access to quality educations. Factors are such as poverty, conflict, gender inequality, and inadequate infrastructure, which is preventing children from attending schools and receiving the education they need to succeed. Even COVID-19 pandemic further disrupted education systems, leading to learning losses for many students. Without access to education, children may face limited opportunities also. Limited opportunities for employment, contributing to cycles of poverty and again to inequality also. Okay, then what can be the possible challenges associated with this problem? Actually, main challenge in improving access to education, like we can say multidimensional, but in some regions there is insufficient investment in schools, teachers, and learning materials. Also, economic constraints make it difficult for families to afford education, while uh, gender-based barriers keep girls from enrolling in schools also. There can be some possibility of armed conflicts and instabilities in the regions, okay, certain regions, further hindering the access to education. Additionally, the digital divide created by unequal access to technology is also preventing many students from benefiting the online learning. Okay, then solutions, possible solutions we can discuss. Okay, governments can increase public investment in education, building more schools and ensuring teacher training programs are in place to improve the quality of education. Also, NGOs and international organizations can partner to implement mobile schools or community-based education programs in rural or conflict-affected areas. To address gender inequality, initiatives that promote girls' education through scholarships, safe transportation, and awareness campaigns are essential. Also, invest in digital education platforms. Digital education platforms can also help bridging the learning gap, ensuring that remote education is accessible for all the students, particularly in undeserved areas. So we have seen the problem of access to education, then challenges and solutions. Let us see another example now, friends. Another example related to the ESG sustainability problem is, let's say for an example, overfishing. It's about the depletion of the fish populations due to excessive and unsustainable fishing practices, and which is threatening marine ecosystem and the livelihood of the communities also that depend on fishing for food and income. Many fish species are caught before they have a chance to reproduce and leading to the collapse of the fish stocks. And overfishing is disrupting the balance of marine ecosystems, affecting the biodiversity and leading to the decline of other species, including those that dependent on fish for food. Fish for food. So now, what are the challenges? Okay, to tackle the situation, the challenges lies in the regulating fish practices in global, often unmonitored environment. Many fish stocks are shared across different boundaries, and some countries may not enforce sustainable fishing practices. Also, illegal, unregulated fishing increases the problem as it occurs outside the reach of regulations. Additionally, market demand for fish, especially in high value species like tuna and cod, and leads to overexploitation. And the economic dependence on fishing is in many coastal communities also make it difficult to adapt. sustainable practices. Now, what can be the possible solutions for this problem? You can say governments can implement quotas and fishing limits based on the scientific assessments of fish population to ensure yields. Sustainable yields. Also, marine protected areas (MPAs) can be established to allow ecosystem to recover and first fish populations to regenerate. Also, the use of sustainable fishing gear and techniques can reduce bycatch and protect marine habitats. International cooperation is essential for transnational fishing regulations, and also consumers can support sustainable seafood by choosing products certified by let's say Marine Stewardship Council or other sustainability labels. Okay, when I said Marine Stewardship Council and other sustainability labels. So we have seen the problem overfishing, challenges and solutions for it. Thank you, friends. Let us see another example now. Next problem is ESG sustainability problem example: unsustainable agriculture. Unsustainable agriculture practices such as excessive use of fertilizers, chemical fertilizers and pesticides, monocropping, deforestation are damaging the environment and depleting the soil health. So these practices result in soil degradation, over the water pollution and loss of biodiversity. After some time, they reduce the ability of the land to produce healthy crops, also making agriculture less resilient to climate change. Then unsustainable farming practices contributing to acceleration of climate change. Okay, by releasing large amounts of greenhouse gases from soils and fertilizers. What is the challenge in tackling this problem? Challenges lies in transition from traditional farming methods to more sustainable practices. Farmers may be reluctant to change due to lack of awareness, training, financial incentives to adopt sustainable alternatives. Additionally, the global food system relies on high-yield, low-cost production methods and prioritize short-term profits over long-term sustainability. So the economic pressure to increase food production to feed a growing population makes it difficult to balance environmental and agriculture needs. So now let us see the solution side of this. Okay, we have seen the challenges, now see solutions. Solution can be to unsustainable agriculture is the promotion of we can say regenerative agriculture, which emphasizes on soil health, crop diversity and the reduction of synthetic inputs. Also, governments can offer subsidies and financial incentives for farmers who are adopting sustainable practices such as organic farming, agroforestry and cover cropping. Increase awareness of the benefits of the crop rotation, integrated pest management, which can encourage farmers to reduce pesticide consumption. Additionally, investing in sustainable farming technologies such as precision agriculture and water efficient irrigation can help maximize productivity without harming the environment. So we have seen a problem of unsustainable agriculture, then challenges and solutions for this problem. Thank you, friends. Let us see another example now. Another example of the problem of ESG and sustainability related problem is lack of affordable healthcare. Many people, especially in developing countries, lack access to affordable healthcare services. High cost of medical treatment, medication, healthcare facilities prevent millions of people, from seeking proper care. In countries with limited resources, healthcare systems may be underfunded, and rural communities, these are facing significant barriers in accessing even basic health care. So the inability to afford care leads to worsening health conditions, delayed diagnosis, and in some cases preventable deaths, further deepening the social inequality. Now, what can be the challenges for tackling this issue? Addressing the lack of affordable healthcare lies in inadequate healthcare infrastructure, particularly in rural areas. Inadequate healthcare infrastructure. This can be one of the issues. Also, in many areas, there is a lack of skilled medical professionals, essential medications. Also, the high cost of healthcare is driven by very expensive medical technologies, administrative overheads, and insufficient insurance coverage. Moreover, the health industry is often fragmented, making it difficult for patients to navigate and access necessary service efficiently. So, the solution side of this problem is, like we can say, governments can increase investment in public healthcare system, ensuring the healthcare is universal and